All right, guys, welcome to the show today. We got a really cool guest on today. Super excited to have him on the HyperFast Agent Podcast. And what's really cool about today's show is we actually filmed obviously here, but we went on site, or off-site actually, off this site onto the site of a couple different projects that we're working on. So you're going to get to see various projects that we're doing in DC in all stages. So it's going to be really cool. Our guest today has an amazing background. He's a doctor, he's a builder, he's an author, actor, he's done a ton. I'll let him give a description because it's so complex I can't even do it as well as he can. Welcome, Sunil.
I'll try to keep it brief. My name is Sunil Saxena, and I did go to medical school. So I'm a medical doctor. I graduated when I was 23 years old and ended up practicing emergency medicine for about 8 years. I actually retired from emergency medicine 10 years ago now, so I've not practiced at all for 10 years. But I'm really a business guy at heart. That's really what I am, an entrepreneur. I love putting deals together, businesses, anything. I've started and run 6 successful businesses so far. Most of those have all been real estate or real estate related. Currently, I'm a real estate developer, build a ton of projects around DC and Arlington and the DC Metro in general. And I've been doing, real estate and real estate development since 2001. So about 18 years now. So it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and I know you've been working with us since at least 2013. Yep. And it started off just, you were building homes and Carrie was selling them. And then now it's evolved into, us partnering on a ton of deals. And and I think what's cool about what we're doing is it's providing just a ton of value for so many different people. Like obviously, you get to build homes, which excites you. Our team gets to sell homes, which excites them. Mm-hmm. We're creating awesome products for the end buyer to move into. Right? When we acquire the projects, we're helping people get a lot of cash for their homes quickly. Right? Like people that are have a ton of equity usually in their homes and need access to it. Mm-hmm. And then we're also providing value to investors because we have investor partners now. Mm-hmm. And instead of putting their money in the stock markets, mutual funds getting like 5-6% returns, they're getting 15% returns. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. Like I explained to my team the other day, like the difference between 10% returns every year and 15%, like in 1 year, it's not that big a deal, but if you can keep on doing that and compounding, it gets huge. Like in a 30-year span, the difference between 10 years or 10% and 15% over 30 years is a lot.
So it's a lot of money.
It's 3 extra doubles basically. Mm-hmm. So like there's that rule of doubling. Like you divide your 72 by the percent that you get on your investments. That's how long it takes to double. So 10% you're taking 7 years to double. 15% you're taking like a little close to 4.5 to double. Mm-hmm. So over 30 years, that's 3 extra doubles, right? So that's, instead of $1 million in your retirement account, that's $8 million. Mm-hmm. Which instead of 50, grand a year in cash flow, now you're at 400, 500. Like that's really cool stuff. I'm just super glad that these projects have been able to provide that kind of return to investors.
Right. No, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more on everything you said there. Is that, that's definitely one of the reasons I'm in this business is because I feel like we're helping so many different people. You kind of already mentioned, certainly I enjoy what I do. We help the sales team make money on the commissions. We're really, one of the things I love about what I do is really providing incredible product for end users. One of the things I'm most proud of is that, pretty much every person I've ever sold a home to just really loved the home. They just literally, I get emails all the time saying, "Oh, we love the home." I personally live in one of my own homes as well that I built, so I built it to kind of what I would like. And I think, as you mentioned, we're getting into more condo projects in DC. We've already done a number, but we're doing quite a bit more. And again, we're providing just an incredible product for a market that really, really needs it. And again, on the investor thing you mentioned, that's another huge advantage to what we do is that. When I first started out with Carrie, I met Carrie in 2013, like you said. I actually started building new homes in 2012, then I met her about a year later, and since then she's done 100% of all my homes in terms of acquisition and sales. But what we're able to do now, because we have these larger projects, is that we're able to bring investors in. And I can't think of much better than getting a essentially guaranteed 15% return on your money. It's not like the stock market where you don't know, right? 5 years it could be up, down, you don't really know what's going on, but here you pretty much can calculate out what you're going to be making. It's completely hands-off. I don't think you mentioned that, but it's completely hands-off. The investor puts the money in. After the project's done, we send them back their principal plus the interest. I just think it's a great program for anybody who wants to invest.
Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but
great.
As close as you can get. We obviously can't say guaranteed,
right,
we never do, but it's pretty darn close,
right,
pretty darn safe. Like, it's really underpriced for the risk, and it's just cool though to get these kinds of returns. Like, I've put money in other projects, in different parts of the country,
right,
and gotten those types of returns too. And it's exciting to have people from all over come in and get those kinds of returns because of what we're doing, right? And I think if you're a real estate agent, like, you got to think past just, get a client, sell a home, get a commission check, because that's just this trap long term of trading time for money, and we all have the same amount of time, right? It's a limited resource.
No, again, I couldn't agree with you more on that. I mean, really, one of the reasons I got into real estate, because I know that of any business in the world, it's really one of those that's created the most wealth for so many people, right? We all know kind of famous real estate developers as well as mom and pop people who've made a lot of money. I know about 10 years ago, I was renting a place from a lady who basically just bought three properties in McLean, Virginia, and just kept them, and now she owns like millions of dollars worth of real estate basically by doing nothing. So I always tell people, no matter what, somehow you should be investing in real estate, somehow, some way. And again, most people don't have the expertise or the time to do that. So this is, again, a perfect way to be hands-off, yet you're investing in real estate, you're making a great return. You already talked about how quickly you can double your money versus, even a 10% return, which that's actually hard to find.
Right.
To me, it's like a no-brainer. I mean, you should be in real estate in some way, some fashion, and if you don't have the time or expertise to do it, certainly this is like a perfect opportunity. Like I think you mentioned, real estate agents are very busy doing transactions, kind of what have you done for me lately, the next transaction. But again, this is a way to kind of park some money. You don't have to even worry about it and kind of see your money grow over time.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll get right back to it. But first, I wanted to talk about live events. Look, if you're listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube, then I know you value learning, getting around some of the best and most exciting, brilliant minds in the real estate industry. All right, nothing can compare, though, to being in the same room with them. So how would you like to get that kind of access? This November, 11th and 12th, at the HyperFast Sales Summit, we're bringing people like Ryan Serhant, Nick Baldwin, Tristan Ahumada, Ricky Caruth, Grant Wise, Tessa Bella, Christina Daves. The list goes on and on. There's just tons of amazing real estate agents, business leaders, and marketers that all bring just this level of expertise that you're not going to find in your typical real estate office or around the water cooler, wherever you're hanging out. All right, you're going to get to learn from the best of the best. And when you go to live events, 3 things typically happen. First, you learn from the best people in the world. Second, you learn from all of the real estate agents that are gathered there. And third, you benefit from the collective energy of everyone getting together. And that's exactly what I want you to do if you're listening to this show. All right, go to bit.ly/HyperFast Summit. You can also click on the link in the show notes and check out the HyperFast Sales Summit. If you want to take your real estate business to the next level and learn from the best of the best, click on the link below in the show notes or go to bit.ly/HyperFast Summit and we'll see you there.
Yeah, I think agents need to do a better job of this concept of getting broke for the right reason. So what I mean by that, get the client, make the sale, get the commission check, get rid of that money, and not like on a car or your house or your credit card. Like, put it in an investment, put it in a project. Like, get that money working for you.
Right.
Get that bank account down to zero and feel that burn, that pressure to go out and get another deal. And if you do that for a few years, like, it's going to snowball, compound, build, and all of a sudden you're going to have this huge amount of passive wealth. I've seen other people do it, you know, and it's just amazing to see what happens when you have that mentality.
Yeah, again, I'm agreeing with everything Dan's saying today. So he's got a lot of good advice. I've been doing this a long time, and everything he's saying is right. Is that, certainly, you know, I mean, it's always fun to, you know, buy a new car, you know, spend, and I certainly encourage that as well. I mean, everybody works hard. You need to get a certain amount of whatever items that you just want. But really, you know, I think majority of money, it has to be put in something that's going to appreciate over time. And really, I can't think of any purchase except like a stock or something like that, which that's not for sure, that, you know, almost certainly is going to go up in value over time. Very few things, if anything, does that. Furniture, you know, cars, jewelry, a lot of that. There's not that, you know, upwards trajectory like there is in real estate. So, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're a real estate agent, definitely find projects to invest in, whether they're your own, whether they're other people's. Like, find other ways to use the money you've made actively to generate money passively. It's a big piece of advice there. But, you know, another big lesson I think that we can get into today for real estate agents is how to do this like what we're doing, right? How to do it yourself.
Sure.
Right? Because if you can partner with a builder, if you can partner with a developer and learn how to find deals, learn how to find investors, it's going to help you create value for yourself, but a ton more people, and it's going to have benefits that go far beyond the projects you're doing, right? So it's a way to reach back out to past clients to raise funds for your projects, raise equity for your projects, and they're going to appreciate the value you create, the success you bring to them. It's a way to give sellers more solutions, because now maybe they don't want to list their home, but you think it's a good investment deal, and they just want the security and the speed. Right? They don't want to have to get the home pretty or do repairs, or they don't have the money for the repairs. They don't want to go through all that bullshit. So now you come in, it's a good deal, you buy it, you create value for them. You create value for your investors, value for your builder partners, value for the end buyers. Right? And if you can, like, just get beyond this idea of only providing one solution. So the traditional real estate agent provides one solution to the seller. And it's make your home pretty and I'll sell it. But not everybody wants that. So if you can kind of be this one-stop shop, like, it's going to create a ton more value for everyone in your sphere. You're going to have more listings, so then you're going to generate more buyers. Right? So like, what would you recommend to real estate agents starting out to, like, get into this business?
Yeah, again, a number of great points you brought up there. I want to touch on a couple of different things you brought up there. I think point number one for all real estate agents is absolutely start working with investors. You know, whether you just started, you got your license yesterday, or you've been doing this 10 years, if you're not working with investors, you're leaving a huge segment of the market out that you can make money. Basically, again, like I think, like you were saying, is that, you know, when you get a potential listing or you see a property, immediately you can see what's the best use of this, right? You can say, oh, hey, this is more of a retail. I can get a little more money in the retail market for my client. Or, hey, there's just some people where this house is so run down and so beat up that it's going to take them forever to even get this thing into retail condition, and they probably don't have the time or expertise, and they're going to spend way too much money doing that. This will be a perfect for an investor, and have a couple different investors you work with. You can call them up and just say, hey, I got this great deal for you, great project. It helps your client, it helps the investor. And so I think absolutely every real estate agent should understand, should have a list of investors they work with and understand how to work with investors. And the other nice thing about when you are working with investors is it's repeat business, right? So typical, buy or sell, person buy. I don't know, how often do people buy or sell houses? You probably know better than I do.
Oh, it's more than they think, right? So people think they're buying their forever home, but then they have one more kid than they thought, or job transfer happens, or who knows? Right?
Well, what's the average?
So I would say the average it depends on the area. But I think it's in like the 5 to 7 year range. Yeah. But in a city area where there's more condos, like it might turn quicker, right? Because if you start out in a 1-bedroom condo and get married and have a kid, well, that's not going to last too long.
Like quickly, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking 5 to 7 years is like an average. So if you have a client, the best case scenario, you'll work with them every 5 to 7 years. Versus investors, we do deals all the time. So you could have 5 deals from the same guy in 1 year. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to work with investors as a real estate agent. So it's just something that every agent should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you got to work with the investors. I think in order to really bring them value, you need to have a solid builder partner.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a second. Like, what should people look for in a builder partner? And what do you, like, what are your key differentiators, you think, as a builder that make you stand out?
I mean, I think there's a couple major points. I mean, I think number one is track record, to be honest, because everybody says they're a builder, they develop things, they do stuff, but my experience that honestly has been a very few really get the job done. So how many projects have they done? How successful have they been? Have they delivered on time and on budget? Those are really the biggest things. I think also, so that would be probably the number one biggest thing I would say is really track record. Number two is, I think, ability to analyze a deal. That, again, I see so many people who are like, oh yeah, we can, do this and we can get it done for this number, and then the numbers look good on a piece of paper, but when it goes to real life, those numbers get completely thrown out of the water, so to speak. In fact, just yesterday I was at a project, somebody else's project, and my architect actually introduced me to him just to kind of get to know him. And I'm walking around the project, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll have this project done in 3 weeks." I'm looking around. There is no way this thing is getting done in 3 weeks. So again, just so unrealistic about expectations. So know someone who can really analyze it, get the right numbers, the right time frame, all those kind of things. Because again, a project to take 6 months versus 12 months, as you know, holding costs completely change that equation. So you have to be pretty accurate on the time frame of projects. So probably those are the two big things I would say. I'm sure there's more, but those are kind of the two things that are coming to my mind right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you got to be realistic on the out sale, and don't trust. If it's something for sale, don't trust the listing agent.
Right, who's selling it to you.
Right, they're going to want the out sale and comps to be super, super high to just justify a high acquisition price. So do your own. Like, we have a process for that we go through. We have one agent on our team, a more junior agent, do the initial review.
Right.
And then we have our most experienced sales agent who sells 60, 70 homes a year in this market. So that's more than anyone, right? So that agent will do it, their own independent review, study the comps, and then you and I each look at them independently. So we've got 4 different sets of eyes on these, and if it's pretty much like anyone has veto power. If one set looks bad, like, we're not doing it, or we're going to negotiate a lower price, or so be realistic on that, and don't. The other problem I see is people will bet
on future.
They're like, well, the price is this now, but when they're done in a year or two, like, they're going to sell for this. And I think that's risky. We don't do that. We base it on today's prices.
Right.
We also, I think, importantly, we only do projects that have like a 25-30% buffer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In other words, like, for us to not pay back an investor, we need to be off by like 30% on our sales number. Which we just don't believe will happen in our market. Like DC, the last major downturn of the century, it took a 10% hit. So we use 30. We want to play it safe. Does this mean we do less projects? Yeah. There's other people who that margin's lower, so they get to do more projects, but we're gonna be fine if the shit hits the fan.
No, that's another kind of a more detailed point, but that's a point I can't stress enough to everybody out there is that, I remember when I first started doing rehabs, I started by just doing simple rehabs, and my number was $50,000 minimum I want to make on a project. And a lot of people are like, oh, you can't find projects like that. And you're right, they're harder to find. People were taking projects with $15,000 profit, $20,000 profit, and you know how quickly a $15,000 or $20,000 profit can just evaporate, like, super quick. You need like a new HVAC system, a new roof, boom, 10 grand, it's gone. So I think, the point of having projects where there's a buffer is so important. It's not just about making money, we want to make more money, it's about risk. Because again, if you have a 30% buffer, and even if your numbers are fairly off, you're still making 10%. You're still making money at the end of the day, right? Versus if you have a 10% buffer and you are off a little bit, you can be losing money very quickly. So, a kind of a detailed point, but I think a great point.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you have a good buffer. It's not a greed issue. It's not a make more money issue. It's a
Safety.
safety issue, right?
And I would have a buffer like we got the buffer on the sales price.
Right.
We also, when you're putting together your construction budget, there's
Right.
a contingency in there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always overestimate a little bit. In fact, we overestimate the construction budget, and we put a 10% contingency on that as well. So, knock on wood, rarely, if ever, we're off on our construction numbers.
Yeah, so I mean, these are all like important things you need to do when you're figuring out the out sale, figuring out the cost, figuring out the time. And then speaking of times, like time is really important. One of the things that I appreciate most about you is that you're just fast. Like, because speed, like in anything really, any business, speed I believe is like the most important thing. Like speed to execution. And there's some builders that take 2 or 3 years to do things, and then you come in and do it like in a year less. Right. And it's just like, talk about that, like the speed.
Yeah, I can talk about that. I can talk about that forever as well. In fact, it's interesting because we just finished a house in Arlington, a brand new custom home on Williamsburg, and we did that. I got to think through the time, but we did it relatively quick, and we got it sold and everything. And I remember actually where I live in Arlington, there's another builder doing a house right next door to mine, literally right next door. So everybody always thinks it's mine for some reason. But that builder started 3 weeks before I did, and that house is still not done. It's literally still not done. Ours is done, sold, delivered, and they're still probably, the way they're going, another month away from finishing. So yeah, part of this business is you got to get stuff done. It's got to be done quick, and you got to learn to kind of push on people to get stuff done, because if you don't, they'll just kind of take their own time because they don't understand your urgency.
Right.
They got their own business, their own thing. They don't understand you're literally losing money. So yeah, I'm even a 3-day delay in my projects, I'm already like jumping up and down, like I want to get this stuff done. So
yeah, I think probably having that emergency room background probably helps.
Yeah.
If someone's sitting on the table bleeding out,
let me think about it.
You can't screw around and be like, well, what's the best solution? What does the book say? What does the health insurance company want me to do, or the bureaucrat over here? Like, you gotta like save that freaking life, right?
I probably didn't think of it that way, but probably the reason I went into emergency medicine is because that's the way I am. It's like, we got to get stuff done now, and you're absolutely right. People die in emergency medicine if you don't get stuff done right away. Good thing in our projects, people don't die, but we lose money if we wait too long on doing things. So you're 100% right on that.
Hey, that's a great point. We'll get right back to it. But first, I wanted to talk about a problem that so many real estate agents are facing. In fact, nearly 90% of agents are facing this problem. And that's the problem of going out of business. And then most of the ones that do are still struggling. They're struggling to get the results they want. But look, it doesn't have to be that way. I know, because it wasn't that way for me. In my first year in real estate, I sold over $22 million in real estate volume. I wrote about it in my best-selling book, The Hyperlocal HyperFast Real Estate Agent, but I wanted to do something more for the industry. That's why I created the HyperFast Accelerator program. Now, I know what you're thinking, not another coaching program, and I get it. The problem isn't lack of information. The problem is who to actually trust, who to believe. And most professional coaches never even sold themselves. So whether you're selling 10 homes and want to get to 20, or you're selling 20 homes and want to get to 50, we can help. Right? We've done it. I've grown my team from 22 million volume to now over 400 million in volume. It's one of the top real estate teams in the country. This is what separates me from most real estate coaches. Like, I'm still in the game. What I'm gonna teach you in this program is stuff that's actually working today in my business. All right, what would your life look like if you sold just one more home a month? If that's something you're interested in, if you want to get those types of results, click on the link in the show notes or go to bit.ly/hyperfastcoach and sign up for a free discovery call. And look, we don't take anyone and everyone, all right? The problem with most real estate coaches is that they do, right? They try to cater to the masses. So we only take a few people on purpose because we want to provide highly strategic, individualized, personalized service to help you get the type of results you want and achieve your goals. Click on the link below, sign up for a free discovery call, and I'll see you soon.
Let's talk about there's typically two phases, I think, that affect the time. One is like the planning, the permits part. One is the actual construction.
Right.
And that Williamsburg one is interesting because I think the timeline was we bought it in October and it was under contract before it was done, and closed in August. So it was like a 10-month deal. Most people, if they're fast, take 12 months. Some take longer. And your timeline, I believe, on this was we acquired it in October.
I believe so, right.
And permits were done in like 60 days and demo in like 100 or something.
It was a little bit longer, but relatively quick. I think it was 4 months to get permits on that.
So 60 days to get kind of the conditional approval, and another 60 before the demo started, and that was done. So 4 months, but a lot of people take 6 months or longer on that process.
Right.
And then the permits were issued and the build was done in like 5 months. And a lot of people, if they're fast, would take 6 or 7 or 8. So just tremendous speed throughout that entire process. But I think what you're good at is, like what you said, you push people. Like when you're submitting your plans and your permits, like you've got architects, engineers working for you, then they get stuff to the county. And you got to remember, these guys are bureaucrats. Like they government workers. They get a 2 or 3% raise every year. They're not going to push your project through, right? So I'm sure you're pushing on the staff members and like asking to get comments back, and then it's turning it around quickly.
No, that's it's all like so every phase you have to have the right people and the right kind of attitude towards it. So really, I only work with architects, engineers, stuff that they understand urgency. If they don't, I've actually stopped working with really good architects because they're good, but they don't have urgency. But I think like one of the things we're doing now in our projects actually is, the day we get under contract, we're actually starting our architect going. So if we let's say we close in 60 days, we actually are submitting our plans in 30 days, and so we've already got the plans and submission even before we close on the property. So you can imagine how much that speeds up the whole process. So I think getting the right consultants and the right people that understand urgency, get those in place first, and then once it gets into the hand of the government folks, that's a different story. Sometimes there's not a lot you can do, but again, having people that know them down there, that can kind of work with them, they can kind of help get the comments through quicker. It helps. It really helps. Depends on the jurisdiction, but it really helps. I think having people, all along the way that can help. And the other thing we do is, I already know, hey, we're getting our building permit approximately on this day. I have all my numbers ready. I have all my subs ready. So we start our projects maximum within a week of getting that building permit. Like we don't sit on the building permit for 30 days, getting everything ready. So it's kind of, preempting and getting all these blocks in a row.
You're proactively thinking ahead, kind of lining up steps 2, 3, 4, and 5 as you're waiting on 1 to get done, so that when 1 gets done, 2 and 3 and 4 can happen.
We can just flip the switch, right? We know what's going on. I literally usually start my project within a couple of days of getting my building permit. So if we get it on a Friday, I want guys there Monday starting to getting the demo done. But I've seen a lot of developers say, now we're going to think about who's going to do the project. And they take 30 days to even start the project. So it's just all those little things along the way that really help.
No, I mean there's a ton of examples of builders out there. So you got to make sure you pick one that it's like Sunil has a sense of urgency, and we've actually found this to be true with our sales team. So we did a survey of all our top agents, and we had 50 different kind of values, characteristics they could choose from, and one of the top ones for an agent to be successful is a sense of urgency.
I agree, and
I think it's no different in any business, especially in building, developing. So I encourage all real estate agents, go out, work with investors, find a builder partner, and make sure that they have a sense of urgency. Make sure they've got a track record of delivering on time and on budget.
Great. And just to echo that again, is that actually all the agents I work with, if they don't have a sense of urgency, I'm not working with them either. I mean, absolutely. So I think just everybody I work with, I got to make sure they understand they're on the same page as I am, because it's just so time is money in this business, and if you can get a project done 3 months quicker because you're getting, a week off of here, a week off of here, a week off of there, all of a sudden you're making a lot more money on a project than you would have otherwise, and you can do a lot more deals.
So speaking of senses of urgency, we've got 3 different projects that we're gonna walk you through next to just give you an idea of what it looks like, starting a project, what the middle of it looks like, and what the end product looks like. So we're gonna take you out in the field now and give you some examples of 3 different awesome projects we're doing in DC at various stages. So come join us. So this is what projects look like at the start. We're gonna take a look, and then after that, we'll show you what one looks like halfway, and then finally the finished product.
So essentially you have, again, a 2-unit here where you're going to still have 2 units, but we added all this square footage down here, and then you're going to have a 3rd level up there as well. So essentially you're essentially doubling the square footage of the property.
Wow, it's really cool to see like kind of the different stages here. To the right of it, you got 2 of the older units. To the left, you got one that someone else still has complete. Great look at this one. Now we'll go check out one that's about halfway done, and then after that, the finished product. All right, so this is a project that is about halfway done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 50-60% done.
All right, so the end product here is going to be 2 larger units, 3 bedrooms, plus a den. So that's really big for DC, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be 2 luxury condos. We're basically doubling the square footage of the building. And actually, this particular project is 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. So we're actually getting quite a bit of density in this one. Yeah.
Give me a sense of timing. Like, how long did it take to get to this point in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, timing-wise, our permits are taking anywhere between 4 to 6 months to actually get the permits. That's actually one of the longest parts of the whole project. This project, I think it was, we're right about 6 months. We've had some that were closer to 3 months, but mostly 4 to 6 months. After that, the construction on these is 5 to 7 months total. So we've been at this for about 2 months right now. I think 2.5 months. We're right in the middle of that. So
right at the halfway point.
Yeah.
So about 8 to 10 more weeks to go on this one.
I would say 8 to 10 more weeks. And so this one, from the day we bought it to the day we finish, is almost be 12 months total. Yeah. So we're gonna have a nice little bit of green area here, some green space, but we're trying to get 2 parking spaces because that's very valuable in DC. People always want their own parking space, and since we have 2 units here, if we get 2 parking spaces, that'll be ideal for the end user.
And some clearing of the demo still going on. Lot to haul away from these buildings.
Demolition and removal of debris is always an expensive and time-consuming process. Exactly.
So right now we just got to the 2nd unit.
Correct.
Main floor. Mm-hmm. What do we got going on up here?
Yeah, this is kind of the higher end unit, so to speak. We have a lot more space. So I'm actually standing right in the middle of the kitchen right now. The sink would be right here, refrigerator behind me. So it's going to be a really, really nice kitchen here. You've got a full bedroom and a full bath right there.
Wow, This is amazing. This is going to be a penthouse rooftop deck for the 2nd unit.
That's where you're standing right now, man. This is just some like one of the most desirable things about these type of condo conversions is that people get a great deck area out here. As you can see, great views of DC.
Yeah, this is an awesome space. I'm glad we're able to get this design in, and these are the kind of features that you've been adding to these kinds of projects, and it's really cool because the people that want to buy this type of unit, this place, they want something that's easy to maintain. They want to be in a good location, close to everything, easy transportation, but then you don't even feel like you're in the middle of the city up here. This is like you be out in the middle of the country, just relaxing, looking at trees, and beautiful views. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you mentioned, we try to take a lot of care with the particular features we know buyers want. The rooftop deck is one. We talked about parking earlier. People really want their own parking space, especially in DC. We got the H Street corridor. You can actually see H Street from right here. So you got, kind of a booming area of DC where you got restaurants, shopping, all that stuff, literally walking distance. Yeah, it's just all those little features. We throughout the unit, we make sure that the hardwood floors, the kitchens, everything are as desirable as possible to make a really great end product for the customer.
Wow, well I can't wait to see what this looks like when it's done. All right, so now we're in a finished product, single family home, 3 levels plus a loft, really exciting to see. How long did this home take?
Project. This was about 6 months. Okay. Took a little bit longer than I wanted, but that's not bad at all for building a product like this. Really, it's technically not a new home, but really everything we've done here is brand new. The siding, we've reframed some stuff, the drywall, floors, the mechanical systems, so everything is essentially brand new except the foundation. And what we have back here is a full bedroom and bath back here as well. And the very nice thing about this house is that it's got a fully enclosed 2-car garage.
That's really amazing to get
In DC, yeah. So typically what you would do is park back here, come into the house this way, and you've got like a nice little mudroom, cubbies here, which people love that stuff. And the other thing to notice, if you can see here, is like the size of this lot in DC. I mean, this is like one of the biggest lots I've ever seen in DC.
This is amazing.
So you've almost got your private oasis back here. Time of the year we couldn't put sod and everything, so we put some straw, and it's not quite growing properly, but anyways, it's just a great outdoor space that you have here.
Put a swimming pool back here.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, for DC, this is like incredible.
And a lot of cool features that I noticed. The having a bedroom on the main level.
Yeah.
That's always amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool to have over there.
Full
and
bedroom.
this kitchen island is just amazing. Beautiful open space. I mean, you could sit like 6-7 people at this island, which is amazing. Beautiful main level. So we're in the master bedroom now.
Master
light coming in. It's amazing up here.
Yeah, great. Very again for DC. Large size bedroom here. We got 3 nice windows, plenty of natural light, good view of your backyard. We got the full master bath in there with an incredibly large shower. Just a huge walk-in closet here as well. So just plenty of space. It's really one of the nice things about this house is we got a lot of space. So great for a family, or if you want to rent out part of the space.
Laundry room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Front loading washer dryer.
Exactly. Right by your bedrooms, right here.
So. Top-notch amenities. Right?
Yes, exactly. So this is what it's what people want. It's what we deliver. So I think it's a great little feature of this house.
All right, so this is a really cool feature. You don't see this a lot in DC single-family homes. You'll see this more in like Arlington or Vienna, Fairfax, because there's more space. But to get this loft level, this is just a really cool area that could be used as a guest bedroom, a playroom, an office. I mean, so many ways to use this space.
Right.
Was it here before in the original design, or?
Yeah, actually, when we got here, it was kind of more like an attic. It was
Right.
it was a usable space, but not finished at all. So we looked at it and we said, you know what, this is like just such a cool space up here. You've got kind of cool windows. And like you mentioned, it's got so many uses: bedroom, office, kids' playroom. It's a little bit separated from the rest of the house. You can even rent it out, separately. And what we ended up doing is we ended up putting a full bath in here as well. So again, it's like an independent area that someone could stay or live in. But yeah, it's just when I first saw it, I'm like, we got to do something with this space, and this is what we turned it into. So it turned out nice.
Great place to escape kids if you need an office, or place to stick your parents if you're visiting.
Exactly.
A lot of cool uses for this. All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing those 3 projects. I mean, it was really cool for me to go see them. I always like getting out on site and seeing what we're doing and getting, giving that feedback back to our investors. And the one thing I want you to really take away from all that is just the speed of it. So like you saw that first house that we were at on 8th Street, it's going to become beautiful, beautiful condos there. And just you got the permits on those in how many weeks?
We actually we got permits in 7 weeks on that one, which normally takes 4 to 6 months. And again, that's because of the consultants we use, that they were able to just kind of push a little harder and got it done. So I bought it in July, and we started construction first week of September.
Yeah, so I mean that's just amazing. And then you saw 14th Street, which is going to be 2 amazing condos, finishing in under a year. And then finally Randolph Street. How long did Randolph take you?
Randolph, it actually took about 6 months to do the project. So we bought it earlier this year, and we've already done. It's on the market, so we hopefully get a contract any day. But it's going to be a 9-month project total from everything.
Yeah, so I mean, all of these are just fast turnover, which again, it's good for you as a investor and developer. It's good for your investors you bring on.
Right.
Like, they like speed. They like to turn over, and then you can kind of recycle all of that money into new projects. And that's really how we've built this. Is we've done a few projects. Investors have gotten their returns back, and then they're just putting more in the next one, and really happy. And it's a cool story, I think, of how I actually got my first few investors. And kind of ties into you being a doctor, actually, I think, too. So like we actually have a group of investors, or a number of investors that are doctors.
Okay.
And they, some of them came to me and were like, Dan, I want to invest in real estate. I want to buy a rental property.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, here's the numbers, here's the comps. I'm like, here's how it works. you can buy this property. You can either collect a rent check every month, deal with the tenants, deal with the maintenance yourself, or you can give up 7, 8, 10%, whatever it is, to a management company, have them do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they explained all this, went through the numbers with them, and it was going to take this particular rental home. I think he was going to have to put down like $250,000, because on rental properties you got to put down 25%. So it's a higher down payment requirement for the banks usually, sometimes even more. And then I'm like, all right, it's this is a pretty high premium area. Cap rates are like 4-5%. They're not that high.
Right.
But we can go search in other markets adjacent if you want to get a 10% cap rate. And by the way, cap rate, guys, it's simply you take the net operating income, right? So you don't account for financing in this, and divide it by the price of the home, and that's your cap rate. So if you got $1 million home and it's producing $100,000 of income a year, that's a 10% cap rate. Well, in the nice parts in our market, the cap rate's usually 4 or 5%.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Some places they're 10 to 15.
Right.
But the difference, I think, typically, like there are places near us where you can get a 10 or a 15, but you're going to be dealing with a lower quality of tenant. You're going to be chasing down the rent money, and there's risk with that. So a lot of investors don't want to have to deal with that. And in our area in particular, just with prices, they're getting a 4 or 5% cap rate. That barely even beats. Like, even as low as interest rates are, like, even if you finance a lot of that, like, you're not coming out ahead.
Yeah, with all that work you're doing on top of it, right?
And you got to put all that work. So, I kind of ran through the numbers. I'm like, look, your cash flow is going to be this.
Right.
Every year, you're potentially paying down this much of the loan, so you're gaining equity there. And if it goes up, 3%, we've kind of factored just normal rates, nothing crazy. I'm like, you might be at 10, 12% return on equity, right? So if you got $200K in this, in theory, maybe it's generating $20K for you a year, but a lot of that's locked in there, like the equity and principal pay down. Like you're not able to get that cash out. And so, I was running through the numbers with him. He's like, "Well, this doesn't look that attractive, Dan."
Right. Exactly.
And I was like, "Well, there's another opportunity," and we just started getting into some of these projects we're doing. And I said, "Look, we've got these awesome projects.
Right.
Our brokerage is the number one brokerage in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We're spending like $100K on marketing a month.
Right.
That gets us in front of a lot of people, but we can justify that, do that for our agents, our real estate business. We have 60 agents, so like we need to do that.
Right.
A small guy, retail guy, he can't go out and spend 6 figures a month on marketing. So that marketing budget's getting us these leads. Then we're able to cherry pick, find good deals, and then partner with people like you, and then deliver like a 15% return to investors.
Right.
And they don't have to do the work, right?
Exactly.
And then they don't have to put in like $200,000 and have it all in one. They can invest $200,000 like in 4 projects, spread the risk out, and I think the big lesson in this, I know this is kind of getting long-winded, but the big lesson is there's what you think is passive income, and then there's truly passive income, right? What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's what, you kind of mentioned that earlier, so I wanted to touch base on that, because again, I've been doing this a long time, so I've learned a lot along the way, and I still remember that wonderful phrase everybody used to use, mailbox money. You've heard that, right? I'm sure everybody's heard that, mailbox money. So, they say you got to invest in real estate because it's passive income and you get mailbox money. So to me, what mailbox money means is I go to the mailbox every day or every month or whatever, and I get my check and I don't do anything. That's not true. That's not true in real estate at all. If you're buying rental property, just like you said, the returns aren't that great, especially in Northern Virginia. There's still management. You're not hands off. It's not like a full-time job, but it's certainly not completely hands off or passive. So that's why, what I always recommend, and even what I've done in my own life, is just focus on what you're good at, right? So if you're a real estate agent, focus on what you're doing. If you're a doctor, focus on what you're doing. And whenever you're starting to take time away from that, I think you're kind of watering down everything else you're doing, what your primary thing is. So that, again, that's why I love what we're doing, because it's really providing a true passive income for people that don't want to spend the time or effort or have the expertise in real estate. It's a way to get into real estate and be involved with real estate and be truly passive. There literally is nothing our investors do. They write us a check. After the project is done, we write them a check back with interest. And they're welcome to come see our projects and be involved, but there's nothing else that they have to do. So yeah, really, that's one of the reasons why I really like what we're doing, is we're able to provide this opportunity for people who don't want to, either don't have the expertise or don't want to spend the time to really, be involved with real estate on a hands-on basis.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple good points in there for real estate agents. Like one, you need to find ways to get passive income.
Yes.
Income that's truly passive.
Truly passive.
And while I'm doing this work with you, and Carrie and I are developing homes with you, for us, I don't consider this passive income.
Right.
Like we're working, we're finding deals, we're financing them, we're building. But I do take a lot of that money and then throw it into other people's projects.
Right.
So I've got, investments in Florida, investments in Texas. I've got investments in a winery and like all sorts of other things that I consider passive. So you got to find ways to get passive income. So I think that's one point. It doesn't have to be projects like we're describing, but find ways to get passive income, truly passive. Make sure
it's passive. That's the thing, right? When it means you don't do anything, right?
And then, because that's really the key to developing the ability to have freedom of money and time. Like a lot of people get the money part right, but then not the time, and then you have the money but no time to use it. Like, what good is that?
Exactly. Yeah, again, I just reiterate that point. I mean, that's why I've learned along the way that there's very few things in life that are passive. I used to have a lot of money in stocks and stuff like that, but that's a passive income passive investment because I'm not doing anything, but I don't know what it's going to be worth in 10 years. And that was, didn't really make me sleep well at night, because some days it's up, some days it's down. But I think with this program we have is that you can literally calculate out to the day what this is going to be worth in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever time frame you have. So I think we've talked a lot about it, but again, I just want to make sure that people understand that if you're going to, first of all, do invest in something passive, because again, your money is working for you while you're doing what you primarily do. But again, if you're going to do that, just really make sure it's truly passive and not something that people are selling as passive, but you end up doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and if you guys want to learn about more examples of how to do this, Sunil will be on our investor panel at the HyperFast Sales Summit. If you guys have not heard about that, go to hyperfastsummit.com. It's going to be the premier real estate event of the year, November 11th and 12th. If you get a VIP ticket, you get to come to our office on the 10th as well. So that's hyperfastsummit.com. Check it out. I don't know if there's still tickets left, but click on the link. If it doesn't work, that means we're sold out. But Sunil will be one of several people there that will teach you guys about how to find these types of deals, how to find passive income, what to look for in builders if you want to partner and go do it yourself. So make sure you guys check out hyperfastsummit.com, and hopefully we'll see you in November. And just another big point on this, going back to it, like there's passive income that we talked about, right? So hopefully people have a good sense of what's passive, what's not. And I think another big lesson in all this is find ways to create passive income for other people, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And that would be finding a builder, making sure that they deliver on time, on budget, and have a track record to prove it, not just say that they do.
Right, exactly.
Right? Like trust but verify.
Right, exactly.
I think Ronald Reagan said that. But make sure you find a builder partner that is going to do projects on time, is going to deliver on budget, and then find good deals, right? Deliver more value to your sellers, deliver more value to your past clients or other people that want to invest, and deliver more value to that end buyer.
Right. Absolutely. It's really success in life is just delivering value to others, right? In whatever way you're doing it. So again, I think in our scenario, we're delivering value to so many different people. That's why I love it and I enjoy it, and we've been successful, is that we really are doing something good for a lot of people.
Cool. Well, Sunil, before we sign off here, if people want to learn more about you, more about your projects or the the work you do, or maybe they're just a buyer and they want to buy one of your homes. Like how do they find that?
Just go to my website. I have my custom home building website is saxenacustomhomes.com. That's SAXENA customhomes.com. You can find my current projects, past projects there. My contact info is there as well. I am launching a new website for our condo projects. We've got so many going on as well, but that isn't quite ready. But just check me out at saxenacustomhomes.com.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show today, and make sure you get tickets to the HyperFast Summit, so you can see Sunil in November. And again, that's hyperfastsummit.com. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, leave us some comments. We want to know your feedback, and share this with someone that you think could benefit as well. And if you want to see more great videos, click this playlist up here, or better yet, click right here to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our updates.